Yeah, hello viewers. Please welcome to Legal Studies TV. Okay, kindly subscribe to the YouTube channel Legal Studies TV with Eric Frimpong attached to it. You can also watch my videos on Facebook and Instagram. Okay, I kindly please to keep me, to give me the morale and spirit to keep doing this. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, then share the videos, share my videos anywhere you see it, whether on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram. Okay, kindly subscribe. Okay, thank you very much. In fact, today I want us to talk about an interesting topic, which is arrest and search warrant. The other day I said that I was going to talk about divorce. Okay, in my next video, and also look into the Matrimonial Causes Act with you. But today I want to put that topic aside and treat arrest, okay, and search warrant with you. Okay, because it's an interesting topic to look at it due to some emerging issues and experiences that I have been observing, when people suspects are getting arrested, their rights that are being infringed, and also when police do search people, whether on the road, patrol team searching vehicles and stuff. Let's look at into it. What is the right, under what circumstance can a police conduct a search without a warrant or with warrant? Okay, let's look into those things. So today I would like us to talk about arrest and search warrant. Maybe time may not permit, you know, me to go into all of this today. So maybe I will first talk about arrest in general, how arrest is made, who can make an arrest, okay, and under what circumstance can the person who is entitled or has the right to make an arrest, okay. So I would like us to look into all these things. Then if we are done with the arrest and we have more time, then I'll talk about the search warrant. Okay. All right. So I don't want to waste much time. Before, I would like us to look at who can make an arrest. Okay. Who can make an arrest? Okay. All right. So any police officer or any other person can make an arrest. It's not just the uh, police officers who can make an arrest. Any police officer or any how do you call it, or any other person can make an arrest. That is what our law says. So if you think that it's only the police officer who can arrest you, then you are mistaken. It's not just the police that can arrest you. Any other private person too can arrest you. Okay. So now let's go into it. Okay. A police officer with warrant can arrest any person who has committed an offense at any time. Okay. So generally, a police officer having an arrest, having a warrant, can arrest anybody or any suspect at any time. It doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter the time, the location, the circumstance. No, with warrant, a police officer can make an arrest at any point in time. Okay, so let's look at the circumstance under which a police can make an arrest without a warrant. Okay, let's look at that one too. So a police officer may arrest without warrant any person who, and here are the circumstances under which a police officer can make an arrest without warrant. It says a police officer may arrest without warrant any person who, one, commits an offense in his presence. So if the offense is committed in the presence of the police officer without a warrant, he can effect an arrest on that suspect. Another circumstance is when the person obstructs a police officer in the execution of his duty. So let's say a police officer is trying to execute his duty, perform his duty, and someone try to obstruct him, you know. Under that circumstance, without a warrant, the police officer can effect arrest on such persons. Okay. And another circumstance is where any person who has escaped or attempt to escape from lawful custody. So anyone who has escaped from lawful custody or has made an is attempting to escape from lawful custody, The police officer, under that circumstance, the police officer can make effect an arrest without what having a warrant. Okay, so that is what the law says. And if you go to section 10, subsection 1 of the Criminal Procedure Act, you see the Act 30. Okay, so that is what the law says. So these are the under circumstances under which a police officer can effect an arrest without what a warrant. Okay, so now that we know about that, let's move on. A police officer may also arrest without warrant any person he suspects upon reasonable grounds. Okay, so aside the what do you call it, circumstances that I made mention of, under reasonable grounds to a police officer can make an arrest. Okay, can effect an arrest without a warrant. And let's look at that some of the situations under which um, whereby there is a reasonable ground a police officer can effect an arrest without a warrant. Okay, so one is of having what committed an offense. Okay, so if a police officer reasonably suspects, with reasonable grounds, suspect that someone, maybe this man going has committed an offense without that offense being committed in his presence. So that means the offense was not committed in your presence, but you have reasonable grounds to suspect that this man or this person has committed an offense. Maybe you see the person carrying maybe items that you believe that the items must have been stolen. In such a case, the police can make effect an arrest without what having a warrant. Okay, so these are some of the circumstances whereby police can effect an arrest without the offense being committed in his presence, but with reasonable grounds he can make an arrest without what a warrant. So another ground is of being about to commit an offense where there is no other practicable way of preventing the commission of the offense. Okay, so when a police officer is walking around and he sees that someone is about to commit a criminal offense, even though the crime or the offense has not been committed in his presence, but is about to. When the officer sees that and there is no practicable means of what stopping or making sure that that offense is not committed, under such circumstances, the police officer can effect an arrest without a warrant. Okay. Also, the of being what a person for whom a warrant of arrest has been issued by a court. Okay, so let's say a police officer is working somewhere and he has heard, maybe he has heard either on radio, TV, or something that a court has issued a warrant of arrest for such person, maybe a suspect. And a police officer, you are not holding the warrant or you are not having the warrant, but you have heard of it that this person is a suspect whom a court has issued a warrant on. Under such circumstance, a police officer can effect arrest on such suspect. Okay, and also of being what a deserter from the armed forces. Okay, so some of the circumstances under which a police officer can effect an arrest without a warrant, okay, but on reasonable grounds, is whereby a person has deserted from the police, the armed forces. So if a police officer on reasonable grounds believe that this person going has is a deserter from the armed forces, he can effect an arrest. Maybe he was supposed to be in training school, and maybe due to the training and stuff, he's trying to run away. A police officer without a warrant can what, and on reasonable grounds can effect arrest on such person without what having a warrant. Okay, and also of having been concerned in any act committed outside Ghana, which, if committed in Ghana, would have been punishable as an offense. So let's say someone has committed, is involved in a crime or something outside Ghana, whereby that act that he is involved in or the offense that is involved in outside Ghana, if it were to be happening in Ghana, it would have been an offense. A police officer can effect arrest on such person. So that is it. So now let's look at a private person. As I told you, those that can effect arrest, I said a police officer and what any other person, which is a private person, okay, can effect arrest, can make an arrest. So that's what I said. So now we have talked about the police. Now let's talk about the private person. That is where we have the citizens arrest. Okay. So let's look under what circumstance can a private person effect what an arrest. And generally, private persons, they they make arrest what without having a warrant, okay? Because um when warrant is to be issued on someone, it will be issued to the police officers, okay, not private person. So it means whereby we see that a private person can effect an arrest. It means it's under is such arrest can be made what without what a warrant. Okay, so let's look at under circumstances, the circumstances under which what um under which what do you call it, arrest can be made by private persons without what a warrant. Okay, so a private person may arrest without warrant any person who in the in his presence commits, okay, in his presence commits any offense involving the use of force or violence, okay. Also any offense whereby bodily harm is caused to any person. Also any offense in the nature of stealing or fraud, okay. Also any offense involving injury to what public what property. So these are the circumstances under which a private person can effect arrest without what having a warrant. Okay. And this can be found under section 12 subsection 1 of Act 30, which is the Criminal Procedure Act. Okay. Yeah. So generally, as I said, private persons or citizens can effect arrest without what warrant, and the law says that it states clearly the circumstances or the conditions under which private persons can what effect arrest. And it says that whereby the key component of what that is whereby the offense is being what is committed in his presence. So if you're a private person and someone commits an offense in your presence, you have every right to what arrest such person. Okay. Uh-huh. So now let's talk about after effecting such arrest, what responsibility lies on you, the private person or the citizen? What next do you have to do after effecting the arrest on that such suspect? Okay, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to lynch and kill? Are you supposed to keep in custody in the private person's custody or what? Let's look at what the law says. Okay, any suspect any suspect arrested by a citizen or private person shall, within a reasonable period of time, hand over the suspect to a police officer or to a a nearby police station. Okay, so the law says that even though as a private person you have every right, or the law gives that authority to private persons to what arrest suspects without what having a warrant. But the law says that after um you know effecting such arrest on suspects within a reasonable period of time, you need to hand over the suspect to a police officer or any nearby police station. Okay, so that is what the law says. Okay, and this can be found under section 14 of the Criminal Procedure Act, Act 30, 1960. Okay, so that is what the law says. Okay, now let's talk about um, um, and where the person or the suspect is supposed to be kept, or the who's under whose custody is a suspect arrested by what do you call it, either a police officer or a private person is supposed to be kept under whose custody. Let's look at that one too. Any suspect arrested without warrant shall be held in police custody for not more than 48 hours. Okay, so the law is saying that any suspect who has been arrested either by police or any private person, okay, without a warrant, shall be kept or shall be, yes, held in the custody of the police, okay. And they are not to be held in the police custody for more than what 48 hours. So what is states what this one means, this one means that the police is supposed to have custody of suspects who have been arrested. Okay. Yes. And they are not supposed to be kept in police custody for more than 48 hours. And this can be found under section 15, subsection 1 of the Criminal Procedure Act, Act 30. Okay. All right. So now we know who can make an arrest under um, what circumstances can arrests be made either by private or police officers without what warrant. Okay, and we have come to know who is to have custody of persons who have been arrested either by police or what private citizens. Okay, so that is it. Now let's talk about something else. The law requires the police to report on monthly basis all arrests made without what warrant to the nearest district magistrate. Okay, so all arrests that have been made without warrant, as I said, the police can make arrests without what warrant. Um, Private persons too can make arrests without warrant, but whatever it is, it has to end up with the police. Okay, so the police will have records of those that have been arrested without what warrant. Okay, and the law is saying that on monthly basis, the police has to, you know, report to the nearest district magistrate all cases or all persons who have been arrested without warrant. Okay, so we talk of nearest district magistrate. We are talking about the district courts. Okay, you have to report to your district court the number of persons that you have arrested without warrant on every month on monthly basis. Every month you have to, the police is required to report to the magistrate court on that. Okay, and this can be found under section 16 of the Criminal Procedure Act. Now that we know about arrest, who can make an arrest, the circumstances under which one can be arrested without warrants. Now let's talk about the rights that suspects who are being arrested to. What right do they have? And let's go through it quickly. Okay. Now, suspects arrested by the police have some basic rights that are to be respected by the police before, during, and after the arrest. Okay, so suspects do have rights during, before, and after what the arrest. And these rights are supposed to be respected by the police. Okay, so Article 14, Clause 2 of the 1990 Constitution provides that a person who is arrested, restricted, or detained shall be informed immediately in a language that he understands of the reasons for his arrest, restriction, or detention, and of his right to a lawyer of his choice. Okay, so under Article 14, Clause 2 of the 1990 Constitution, it provides that um, a person who is arrested, restricted, or detained has to be informed immediately, after his what arrest, restriction, or detention, has to be informed immediately the reasons why he is being arrested, restricted, or detained. Okay, and also in a language that he understands. You have to explain to him, inform him why he's being arrested or restricted or detained in a language that he understands, and also explain to him his right to have a lawyer of his what choice. Okay, so this is what the Constitution says under Article 14, Clause 2. Okay, also Section 9 of the Act, which is the Criminal Procedure Act 30, spells out the rights of suspects arrested by the police with or without what warrants, which includes the right to be informed of the charge against him, his right to legal advice, his right to bail or otherwise arrangements for his defense or release. So Section 9 of the Criminal Procedure Act also talks about the rights of persons who are being what arrested by the police. Okay, so it talks about, as the Constitution says, the right to be informed about the charges level against him, the right to what legal advice, his right to bail, his right to to be granted bail or otherwise arrangements for his defense or release. Okay, so arraignment, if he's not to be granted bail and he's to be arraigned before a court, his right, the arrangement for his defense, whether he's going to get a lawyer or without lawyer, having access to the legal aid to come to his defense or be released. Okay, so these are the rights that the section 9 of the criminal Procedure Act also, you know, um, states, as the Constitution has also embodied, embodied in the Constitution. Okay, so these are the rights of every suspect. Once you are under arrest, it doesn't mean that you are a criminal. You are just a suspect. And the Constitution also says that a person is not what guilty until what proven guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction. So once you have been arrested, doesn't mean that you are what, a criminal. So you have every right. All these rights has to be respected. Okay. Uh-huh. So I think if you go to article, is it article 19 or so, you see that the Constitution states clearly that a person is not what to be considered what guilty until proven by a court of what competent jurisdiction. So you have all these rights. Okay, so now let's move on. So a suspect has the right to resist unlawful what arrest or insist on his rights when he is unlawfully being arrested by the officer, by a police officer. Okay, so all these rights that the law gives to a suspect who is believed to have what committed an offense, it means that any a suspect is entitled to all these rights. Okay, so what it means is that a suspect has a right to resist unlawful arrest. Okay, every suspect has a right to resist unlawful arrest or insist on his rights when he is unlawfully being arrested by a police officer. Okay, so if a police officer is arresting you and he fails to let you know the reason why you are being arrested, or to inform you your right of what having access to what legal advice, your right to be granted bail and stuff. If the police fail to do that, and he's been you are the police is arresting you, you can resist that arrest. Okay, you can resist any means that you can use to resist. Is the law allows you. And I'm going to refer you to a landmark case of Asante versus the Republic, which was in this case was held in 1972. Okay, 1972. Okay, so Asante versus the Republic. Asante happened to be a taxi driver. Okay, and I think on a market day, he overloaded his vehicle because there were so a lot of passengers, and I think he overloaded his vehicle, and a police constable was instructed to go and arrest Asante. So during the arrest, Asante assaulted the police officer who happens to be a constable of the police. Okay, I think he assaulted the police officer, torn off his uniform, then I think he took off. He ran away. So later on, the police accosted Asante. He was arraigned before court, a high court, and the high court discharged the case. And the high court said that um, Asante was resisting an unlawful what arrest, and for that matter, it was like a defense. He was defending himself because the police officer did not inform him his right or the reason why he's been arrested, and for that matter, Asante was set free. Okay, so we have case laws, we have precedents that clearly shows that if you resist unlawful arrest, there's the law allows that. The law allows that. Okay, and that, as I said, Asante versus the Republic. You also have the famous case of Miranda versus Arizona in the U.S. Supreme Court. Okay, and other cases. Okay, so every person has a right. Okay, and as a police officer, if you are going to either arrest, detain, or restrict someone, you need to inform the person his the reason for he being arrested and respect his rights. Okay, if you don't do that, even though the person has committed offense, if you get to court, there is a probability of the suspect being what discharged. Okay, or the case being dismissed by the court. Okay, so what I would like to say is that our police officers, when you're on the road or when you are to arrest someone, make sure that you respect the person's right. Okay, let's do that. um let's keep doing that, because if not, we will always be allowing criminals to go scot-free. If you Because arresting someone and informing him about his the reason of he being arrested, and informing him about his rights, I don't think it takes anything away from the police. So why do you have to, you know why do you fail to do that? And when the person is arraigned before court based on these, simple things, criminals are, you know left to go scot free. So I think our police officers have to be educated on these, rights that suspects have, so that it will help, in their in the court processes. Okay. So today, I think much time is not on our side, so I'll end it here, and I'll find time and we also talk about search warrant. I wanted to go into search warrant, but the time is fast spent, so I'll end it here. And next time you talk about search warrant. Okay. But before, I would like us to appreciate our police officers. Let's commend them. They are doing a very wonderful job for the country. Without them, we are not safe. Okay. So let's appreciate and respect our police officers. They are doing a very good job for the country. Our police officers, we appreciate your the job that you are doing for our country. We are very, very grateful for all that you have been doing for us. We thank you. We thank you for your good work. So I'll end it here, and later on you will look at search warrants. Okay. Thank you very much. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want me to keep doing this thing, subscribe to my YouTube channel, share my videos, and watch my videos on either Facebook or what, Instagram. So my YouTube channel is Legal Studies TV with Eric Frimpong into bracket attached to it. Okay. So subscribe to the channel for me. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm grateful.